Get rid of that one. There we go. Hello. Morning, everyone. Welcome to another Wealth Coffee Chat. I hope you're all well, awesome, wherever you are. Good to see Grace got in first today. First Wealth Coffee Chatter. Good to see you, mate. Thanks for joining, Grace. Good morning to you. Alison. Yeah, last night was great. So good to hear from Dr. Andrew Wilson last night, folks. If you don't already know, or if you didn't attend last night, make sure you catch up on the replay. We had Dr. Andrew Wilson, Australia's best property commentator, and he's a interesting guy, and also just cut through all the bull and talked about what's really going on out there. So get hold of that if you haven't already, and make sure you check it out today. Good morning, Tim, Sonia, love of my life. Hello, my love. Good to see you all on this morning for a Wealth Coffee Chat. If you didn't already know, it was up there before, but Jason Witten's my name. Thanks for joining me this morning. I'll be doing Wealth Coffee Chats for a few years now, 2 or 3 years. However, prior to that, I've been property investing for about 25 years, maybe a bit more, and coaching property investors just like you for well over 20. And along the way, learnt a few things, what maybe you should do, what maybe you shouldn't do. Each morning we get together and have a little moment, little cup of coffee, and talk about what is going on. Terrific Tuesday. What I thought I would continue to talk about, because I didn't get a chance to fully do my conversation the other day, and on the back of hearing from Dr. Andrew Wilson last night, is this I told you so rent boom, right? Yeah, it's underway. It's significantly underway, and I think I can see right now the second wave is coming, and there's a couple of places that are going to benefit significantly from the second wave of rental activity in the Australian market, and I thought we might maybe chat about those today. So give us a shout out in the chat where you are, what you're up to. Let us know. If you're brand new, then let us know. You might have just joined our mentoring and coaching program. Awesome. You might have found us or been recommended to us. So thanks for joining. I hope you enjoy today. We do this every day, every morning at 8:10 or around about 8:10. I try and get on at 8:10. Sometimes I start on time, and we usually try and finish at about 8:30. 20 minutes of Wealth Coffee chatting, so we can get our heads around, what is going on, and make sure we continue to go forward. Got a couple of sayings. This thing's a marathon, not a sprint. It's going to take time to build your portfolio, and I think the easiest way to become wealthy with real estate is buy really well. Buy something that's good, that you're happy to own for a long time. Just buy well and don't bloody sell. The rest of it is just mechanics. That is the high level thing for as far as I'm concerned. So good morning and g'day to you. And there is someone coming in from Kalanga. Good to see you. Daniel, big shout out to Andy Fenton. Yeah, he's a mad kite surfer. There you go. All right, why don't we get into it? Why don't we talk about what is going on and have a little look at the world out there. And most of you should have seen this or know about this already. Last night Dr. Andrew Wilson talked about the rent boom. Well, I've been talking about it for a long time. Most of you know about this, but here's the drill. One thing that I want to point out today, and I want to sort of talk about this and what's going to drive this, and probably the second wave of driving this right now, is something that in here. So I want you to pay attention to this. In the past 12 months, rents have surged to a record-breaking pace. Records, yes, records for us as property investors. Not so great for people who are the tenants. That is for sure. That's tough cookies, tough pickies. But at the end of the day, rents have been flat for 10 years. Cost of money's been low for 10 years, but now the cost of money is significantly increased, and you, as a property investor, your cost, you have to pass that on. You're not going to eat it. It's stupid. So, you need to pass it on. What's going on? What do I want to talk about today, particularly as a part 2, is let's have a look at this. 14% for houses, and look at this, 16% for units. So tell me right now in the chat, I want you guys to get involved. What do you think? What's probably the number one reason here? What's the number one reason that units are outpacing, and I think will this year outpace the rental growth compared to houses? There's probably 2 reasons, kind of like they kind of go hand in hand. But tell me why. Why do you think units are growing so fast when it comes to the rental income right now, in comparison in the last 12 months to houses? There's 2 reasons why. And they kind of go hand in hand. So tell me in the chat, what do you think? Anyone got an idea? Anyone got a thought? Why is it that we've got this record-breaking? Totally 2. There's probably a 3rd one, but let's chuck it in there. All right, Alison. Things are coming in there for sure. Tim, the cost, and I think the combination of those 2 conversations here, as we go along. Some costs, some hotelification, pretty attractive. The changing, and it's one of the things, immigration, lack of supply. Boom. Number one, they are they're cheaper. Now, cheaper to rent because budgets are getting stretched. The house prices or the house rents have risen so much that now the alternative is to rent something a little less expensive. For many renters, renting a house now is not an alternative because the price of rent of houses are out of their control or out of their budget or capacity to pay for. So they're cheaper. So what's going to happen? There's an alternative for people who are on a budget, and that's going to really continue to compress. And I think, again, this year, the units will outstretch the houses from a cheaper point of view as we go along into this year, 2023, and probably into 2024. The supply, that's right. And Tim was saying that their lack of supply close to houses, but also the supply issue is now being compressed, and we're going to talk about why it's being compressed for the apartment space. It was very vacant for a while. I'll show you some stats in a minute. So supply is being accelerated or removed from the marketplace. 2 reasons why. A certain demographic is moving en masse back into the apartment world, and also the world of Airbnb. Airbnb are now back for the holiday grabbers. Like the Airbnb incomes are being, transformed again and taking stock out of the market way faster than it can be provided to the market as we go along. So it's cheaper. The supply is there. And the 3rd one, certainly it's more, let's say it's more attractive, right? Attractive. So, more attractive, it's more appealing for a lot of people right now to live in that type of accommodation for what they're up to. In a certain demographic certainly prefers to live in an apartment than living in a house. And which demographic might that be? What do you guys think? Put that in the chat right now. What demographic right now, or what group of renters is now what I'm calling the second wave of this rental boom, and it's going to accelerate right now in this first quarter of the year? Which demographic, which type of renter? And I think I mentioned it the other day, but I'm going to dive in a little bit deeper on the details of this. Which type of renter? Is it the mum and dad with 2 kids? Is it the single worker? Is it the dual income couple with no children? What is it? What is it? Who is it? Where are they? Let's have a bit of a look at who they are. And the answer is, ladies and gents, it's actually the student population that is on its way into the country en masse. The other day, I think, let's have a quick look at this one here, actually. I think it's not working for me. There we go. Check out this. All right. Demand for accommodation from 50,000 students returning to Australia in the next 4 weeks. All right, the other day I was doing a calculation when I first saw this information. What the, right? Where are they going to live? What's going to go on, folks? All right, this is pretty interesting times here. So 50,000 students pouring back into the Australian market right now for all sorts of reasons. On top of a number of students returning already when it comes to them not being in Australia for the pandemic. All right, as we go, howdy, Jeff. Good to see you, mate. So where are they going to live? What's going to go on here? All right, well, let's have a bit of a look at this. All right, so international students, we're expecting to have 141,000 new students, new students at the end of the year for 2023, and I'll show you some numbers in a second. This is a pretty significant number when it comes to the Australian marketplace. So let's have a bit of a look at what's going on in the world of the students, all right? Where right now, if you look at the top here, it says 613,000. That was the end of 2022. 613,000 students in Australia. This was, the student accommodation or the student population rebounding after the pandemic. 613,000. Rough numbers. It's going to be another 150 to 200,000 more than that now in 2023. So we're looking at 750 to 800,000 students. And where are they going to go? Tell me in the chat. No, they haven't, Alison. The politicians are avoiding this comment and conversation. I haven't seen any commentary. The only commentary I've seen is some lunatic green guy saying that we should make greedy landlords take the hit for interest rate rises and not be able to put your rents up. I think that's lunacy. That doesn't help anybody. But anyway, there you go. I haven't heard anything from those guys or ladies. So tell me in the chat right now, what's the number one destination in Australia? Let's do the top 3 destinations for the students of the world entering Australia to study here for quite a long time. Tell me, what are the 3 top states in Australia that receive the majority of these students? And we're going to have a quick look at something as we bring this into perspective. What are the top 3 states? Where are they going to go? And let's have a bit of a look at this stuff when it comes to where are they going to live. The question is, where are they going to live? Because right now, as I'll show you, vacancy rates in those popular suburbs are already at crazy vacancy rate lows. Where are the students going to live? What's the state? What's the major states as we go along? So let's jump in and have a bit of a look. All right, let's go New South Wales. Yeah, that's pretty big. All right, Victoria. Yeah, okay. Well, if you add those up, yeah, it really goes. It goes New South Wales and Vic pretty well neck and neck, and then Queensland. All right, Queensland a long way down. So let's have a look at Victoria. Let's have a look at Victoria. Last night, Dr. Andrew Wilson said Victoria was affected the most when it came to vacancy and rental increases and also capital growth. And his call, which is the same as our call, is like it didn't get the love, and now it's going to get the love because it's one of the most affordable, attractive markets in the Australian marketplace. Plus, it is a absolutely powerhouse destination for the students to go and live and work and all sorts of things. Let's have a look at what's going on there, Victoria. Where are the 10 best places to hang out and be a student in Victoria? And let's have a bit of a look at these. We've done a few deals in Fitzroy, Brunswick, where else? St Kilda. Let's have a bit of a look at a few of these and just have a look at what is going on. Right. So, yeah, Melbourne is meant to take over. It was well on track population-wise too, Tim, to take over Sydney. It's slowed down a little, but I think it'll come back with some vengeance. Let's have a look at some vacancy rates in these suburbs and then just like ponder this question. Where are they going to live, folks? Let's go and have a look at this. Let's go have a look at Brunswick. And something I want to show you in this one here. Let's go, Brunswick. Check this out. So one of the interesting things that I think about this is like, this was March 2020. Tell me what happened in March 2020. What landed in the whole world? COVID. And check out the vacancy rate. Along here, it was low. That was an extremely low vacancy rate even before COVID, right? Boom, 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 boom. Okay, so now March 2020, what happened? COVID happened. Students go home, like boom. So the vacancy rate in these spots, in these places, fakely, temporarily spiked because of COVID. Didn't happen everywhere in Australia, but it certainly happened in locations that were student accommodation locations, and I'll show you a couple more. But right now, check this out. Look at this. As of today, or close enough to today, vacancy rate down, December 22. What are we going to see when that vacancy rate updates in March? What are we going to see, team? We're going to see it plummet. We're going to see it much lower. Vacancy rates in Brunswick. What does that mean? What does it mean to us as property investors? Well, you can put your rents up. That's what it means, because vacancy rate is low, the demand is high, and certainly when we get 50,000 students coming back into the country, folks, when we get these 50,000 students coming into the country, what is going on there? Where are they going to live? A lot of them like to live in places like Brunswick. That vacancy rate's going to go down. Your rents will go up, and away we go. So it's interesting to look at some of these stats and then understand where we are. We're now at, pre-pandemic vacancy rate, and it's only going to reduce, which will put some pressure on these places and location. Let's have a look at, a couple of other spots, and you'll see the same. Profile. Fitzroy. You'll see the same profile in this student stuff, right? Look at this. Okay, there we go. March 1.2, very low vacancy rate before the pandemic. Boom, up it goes. And then now look at this, back down, under 1% vacancy rate as we go along. And you can have a look at all of those, 10 places in here. Yeah, dead right, Jeff. What you can do in those places is not buy the actual zoned student accommodation properties, because they're terrible for lending and all sorts of things. But you can buy in and around the areas, and you can get some significant extra rent. I know a number of people who will take a 2-bedroom apartment and rent it per room, so it's a shared place, and you kind of get a 20 to 30% premium on just renting it as one thing. So there's some things you can do there as investors as we go along. And what does that mean to us as we go? Literally, let's bring this one to a close as today. What does it mean? Well, it means that there's already low supply, and the next 12 months, certainly the next 3 or 4 months, there's going to be super amounts of pressure with students pouring back into these locations. And depending on what side of the coin you are or which side of the coin, it's going to be positive for your rent. It's going to be positive for landlords, not so great for renters. And one thing last night that was really interesting, and I'll finish with this because we're over time, the restriction of a renter paying a certain percentage of their salary to rent. There's no restriction to that, but there's a restriction to how much you can use out of your salary for a mortgage. Let that land. There's no restriction of the percentage that you can use to pay the rent, but there is a restriction for you on your salary to pay the mortgage. What does that mean? Well, it means that rents will continue to be under pressure, and for a number of years now, until we get a increase in supply, that's not going to change. Anyway, there you go. Plenty of other things. I've got 20 other things that I wanted to cover, but takes time to get there. Well, that's about it from me, folks. Hopefully that made sense. Remember, come and join me tomorrow for another Wealth Coffee chat. I was going to do part 2 on the servicing. I was going to do part 2, a couple of part 2s this week, actually, on servicing. So make sure you join me tomorrow, and we'll get into it again. All right, that's it from me. Wealth Coffee chat done and dusted. Adios, folks. Good to see you. Join me tomorrow for another one. Till then, bye for now. You guys take care. And remember, this thing's a marathon, not a sprint. Buy well, don't sell. See you, folks.